So I'm really curious if the media, if the New York Times is going to address the recent revelations from James O'Keefe concerning the New York Times and that senior homepage editor. She pretty much said almost the exact same stuff that the lower level guy, that they were able to kind of brush off and say, oh, he doesn't know anything, he's kind of crazy, he's only been working there 6 months, most of our people are not like this, etc. So now that she came out, pretty much telling everybody that they have structured their coverage to try to persuade people not to vote for Trump, and that the majority of the time, especially during the election, they just blasted him 95% of the time because it was sensational, right? And they were oftentimes, she blatantly admitted that she's pandering to you guys. She's like, we're not really pandering, but we just know what they want to hear, so we're just kind of telling them what they want to hear. So, they're talking about the Trump bump and all this stuff and how they have increased their subscription, but I think this is a false, uh, you know, uh, rating for them, or it's not going to give them good information because they essentially think, oh, we're giving people what they want, we're getting more popular. But I think it's just the people that already like them, that maybe just didn't pay for it, now they're like, oh, I want to support them because they're going after Trump. So they are gaining subscriptions, but they're not, I wouldn't say they are necessarily gaining fans. And there's been a polls that just recently came out saying that like 47% of the American voters believe that the media is inventing shit about Trump and conspiring against him. 37% believe they aren't. So that's the majority of the New York Times readers, but 48% or 47% believe they aren't, and 70% believe they are, and 70% are undecided. So you can probably bump that up to more than 50% of the electorate believes that the media is doing this. So this may make them profits right now, but in the long term, especially during the election, I believe they're going to lose more support because, you know, people have eyes. Even if you're on the left and you're not a complete die-hard fucking leftist, you see like, wow, they're just pandering these people, and you're eventually going to take them a lot less seriously because the New York Times, a lot of these things, they had a reputation before for being fairly moderate, but now it's like they went all the way to the left, and this is what a lot of people have done, right? Eminem, you know, uh, all the way to the left. All these other companies, they're just like, full throttle left. And this is an opportunity, in my opinion, for other media stations, which are kind of considered on the left, to come out on top and to look more objective, like The Hill, essentially, right? Like they're not that bad compared to the majority of the the media and stuff out there. And they just released all this stuff about Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, about the uranium deal, and how there was a lot of like pretty much corruption involving in that. And I'm pretty sure they mentioned the stuff about Comey, how he waited months, and like now the other media stations are mentioning it, but they started it first, and people are pretty quiet about the uranium thing. But although the Hill did it, so this is an opportunity, I think, for these companies to come in and take their business, right? And eventually, that's what will happen, in my opinion, because you're just pandering to people who want to hear this shit. So, that's gonna get you some money in the short term, but in the long run, I think that people will just continue to move to more objective sources of information, something that has less, something that where their journalists aren't all political activists like the people in the New York Times clearly are, and they can't say that they aren't because this is a senior person in their company, and I'm sure they have tapes of other people, right? So they better be careful about what they say about this because it's gonna come back to bite them in the ass if they say anything that's stupid or whatever. But we'll see. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.